Welcome to Top 5, a show where we count things down from number 5 all the way to number 1. And this week, it's all about regrets. Oh, those things.
Had a few.
Yes. This week's topic, top 5 things we regret throwing away. The top 5 things that we regret throwing away. Yeah. I'm going to start, and this is the only semi-serious one. I mean, they're all serious, but this is the one that is semi-serious for me.
Mm-hmm.
And the number 5 thing that I regret throwing away is my 30s and 40s. I spent way too much time working and not enough time goofing off, and definitely not enough time hanging out with my family and doing fun things, because I was doing things like writing books and building up major spoilers and recording podcasts and all of that kind of stuff. And, some nights it's like, you remember back in the day, we would record Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yep.
And so all of those nights I could have been spending time with the family. So now that we've kind of switched modes on Major Spoilers, majorspoilers.substack.com, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that's where you want to go. I have a lot more free time. And in fact, I've even told Matthew, look, hey, if you've got stuff that's happening, that's supposed to be up on the site on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, it needs to be in by 5 o'clock on Friday, because I'm taking my weekends off. And that, even though I've only done it for like 3 weekends in a row, that has actually, I feel a lot more relaxed, and I don't feel as pressured, and I'm spending more time with, the family that's in the house. My oldest son is living in his own house because he's in college, but I don't, it's a good thing your kid lives a billion miles away, Matthew, because this kid's over all the time. It's like, hey, you got any food? It's 11 o'clock at night. Hey, can I come over and get something to eat? It's like, dude, you've got a whole house with a kitchen, and the grocery store is literally across the street from you. So please go and deal with that. So my number 5 thing that I regret throwing away is my 30s and my 40s. Matthew, what do you have for your number 5?
Well, my number 5. Now, this is important because phrasing is a thing. The email that I got said you regret getting rid of. So I didn't
getting rid of, throwing away. Sure, go ahead. That's either.
I didn't technically throw away my number 5. In fact, I sold it at a point where it was questionable. But my number 5, and you're probably going to laugh at this because I know you were there the day that I purchased my 1977 Dodge Magnum. Way back in the Halcyon year, 1990.
That red one with the white stripe?
No, it was the white one with the red stripe.
The
red one with the white stripe. Yeah, that one melted.
Okay, yeah. I remember the white one with
melt.
I thought it had a brown stripe. But
No.
I'm thinking of your underwear. Yeah.
Hey.
Why do you regret getting rid of that one?
Well, 2 reasons. One, it was, and this is my collector mentality, it was not a vehicle that is very common.
Yeah.
The 77, 78 Magnums were relatively rare in terms of, cars. And it lasted me 12 years. I spent $700 and bought it off of a used car lot. Lasted me 12 years. How many months of those years did it spend immobile, frozen in a parking lot? I'll plead the 5th. But more importantly, this is a true story. I went to sell that car. I went to a local scrapyard here in town. That's how long it lasted, by the way. I had moved to Topeka by the time I got rid of this car. And I went in. I told him what I had. The guy said, "Oh, you got one of those, and this is the motor?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "I'll give you $200 for it." I'm like, "Okay, I'll take $200 for it." As I'm walking out, the guy behind me says, "I'll give you $700 for that motor alone."
Wow, cool. So did you sell it to that guy?
No, because I'd already sold it to the guy who immediately sold it to the other guy for $700 for the motor. But I do miss that car because of all the ridiculous boats that I've owned. That one had so much going for it. It had like the corduroy interior. That was nice. Well, corduroy and also velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah, velvet.
It really traps. Corduroy and velvet really traps in that cigarette smoke from the 70s and just keeps it buried deep.
It was such a lovely car, and you kind of got used to the sound of that like a Harley Davidson makes that
that
trade
potato sound. Yeah,
This one had its own trademark sound, and it went
and then died.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was probably my first adult, and I say adult in air quotes, car. And I got rid of it at a point where it needed to be gotten rid of. We needed something minivan-y. We had a kid. So yeah, it's sad, but also like, if I had it now, I'd probably have it parked immobile in the driveway. Yeah, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I'd have it.
Yeah. There you go. All right. My number 4 thing that I regret giving away or throwing away is my Timex Sinclair 1000 computer. So the thing is, well, with the, with the RAM pack that you plugged in onto the back, I think it cost like $80. And so I worked all summer to save even my county fair money. I saved up to buy this thing, and it was like $80. And then I didn't take into account the tax. And of course, my parents were like, well, you need to take care of the tax yourself. So I had to work like 2 or 3 more weeks to earn the money to pay for the tax on that. And there were only a few left at the Alco when I finally was able to buy it. But if you don't know about this thing, this is just this little microcomputer kind of thing with like not even a real keyboard. It's like the bubble keyboard kind of buttons that you see. And
little chiclet keyboard.
Yeah, that's what it is. More chiclet keyboard. And ran in BASIC, but everything, if you wanted to save your games or your programs that you were writing or load a pre-purchased game that you could buy, you had to do it from cassette tape. And so it was a real kind of pain in the ass, to be honest with you, to plug the computer and the cassette tape together and get everything to load, because you're playing the cassette tape at real time, and it's like a 15-minute tape. So it may take 5 or 10 minutes to load a game onto the system. And if the communication between that audio port and your computer wasn't exactly right, you lost everything. Same way when you're saving it. You press the play on the recorder on your cassette, and then you hit save on the computer, and it would all onto the cassette tape. And that's how you did it. And that was my first computer. And even when I went away to college, my mom and I, when we got the Apple IIc, obviously I didn't really need that anymore, but my mom kept it around. And then she gave it to me. I don't know when. I think when I moved back to Hayes, she was like, hey, they were remodeling the house, and there was a box of my stuff, and Mom's like, just take this stuff or I'm going to throw it away. And I'm like, okay. And I went in there. It's like, oh, my Timex Sinclair 1000 is here. That's really cool. And I had that with me up until in this new house back in 2018 when the basement got flooded into the nerd room of doom. And I was so angry of when I was cleaning that space out that I was just like, nope, I started to adopt the Marie Kondo idea of this does not make me happy, or this does not please me anymore. I need to get rid of stuff. And that was one that I was just like, without a casual thought, I just tossed it away and never really thought about it again until recently when other people were like, yeah, I still have mine. I was like, yeah, I used to have mine up until about 5-6 years ago, 10 years ago now, I guess. And got rid of it. So my Timex Sinclair 1000, I think it was a Tandy or Radio Shack or both. I think it was both, but that's my number 4 thing that I regret giving / throwing away.
That's rough.
Yeah. What do you, I mean, as we go up, there are greater regrets on this thing than my bottom 5. My number 1 is the one that really still bothers me, like almost on a monthly basis about it. But we'll get there eventually. Matthew, what do you have for your number 4?
My number 4 is one that, in retrospect, wasn't at the time seemingly that big a deal. So here is an important thing that you need to know. Dentistry, especially orthodontia, ain't cheap. And when I was 13, I very clearly needed braces, and I never got them. So in my 30s and 40s, I had good dental insurance. I had a lot of stuff done. I had caps put in. I had like 7 root canals. Those are fun. But my number 4 thing that I miss is my number 5 tooth. Now, this is important. When you know how you have the two in the middle, you have your incisors, right? And then you have like the ones right behind those, and then you have the two canines. The number 5 tooth is right behind the canine on the right, the upper right side of your mouth. So in my late 40s, early 50s, I came to a point where they're like, we're either going to have to remove this molar or we're going to have to go in and do $1,200 worth of work. And I'm like, well, I have a child, $1,200 worth of work. I won't miss that tooth. Mostly, I was correct. Now, I said that 7 times. The number 5 tooth, I missed for 3 important reasons. And I didn't think about this when I let them take it out. Number 1, it is one of the major, to quote Polly Shore, grindage teeth. Yeah, on the right side of the mouth. The right side of my mouth in, later months has actually had more teeth missing. Also worth noting, my number 5 tooth came out like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. 10 years before that, I had a root canal and a crown, and I had that tooth rebuilt. $1,300 on that tooth.
Yeah, you regret that now.
But the remainder of the tooth underneath it was starting to rot out, so I would have had to do the $1,300 again. But I'm like, I spent $1,300 on this tooth. They're taking it out. And of course, the number 3 thing, and this is very important. I don't know if you know this, but I talk for a living. I literally spend most of my week either wearing a microphone, talking into a microphone, or avoiding microphones. And so I can always hear the difference in my speech. I have a pronounced overbite anyway, so I have to be I choose to be very concerned about the sizzle of my teeth. And as I say the word sizzle of my teeth, I realize
now say sizzler of my teeth.
Sizzler of my teeth. But that particular tooth is really, really hard to account for when you're trying to pop or sizzle. Yeah.
Well, so just the simple solution is to just go get a bridge or something put in.
I need to do that.
Or be like my grandparents and have, I don't know why, this was such a craze in like the 50s, I think it was. I think it was the 50s, maybe early 60s. But there was this thing. They get gold teeth? No. It was just like yank out all of your teeth and get dentures. There was some like.
My mother did that in her 20s.
Yeah, so go look it up. There was some kind of like weird, not a fad or a craze. It was just kind of this recommendation that at a certain point you just get all your teeth yanked and put in dentures. And so they had dentures the entire time that I knew them. So yeah, maybe that's in your future. Just get all them teeth yanked out. Get a nice set of pearly choppers that you can just put in there with some Pepsodent or Fixodent.
Have you seen Jason Mewes in the last few years?
Oh yeah, he's got them because of meth mouth.
Yeah, Jason Mewes got all new teeth, and on the one hand, I feel really happy for Jason. I'm happy.
Yeah, no, he's changed his life around. He's great.
Yeah, and on the other hand, I'm like, but I don't want that. And when I saw him in the first movie I saw him in, I feel like the first set they had given him were large enough that it was noticeable and like changed the whole size of his face, and it just felt like a thing. I like the idea of having the 17 that I have left for as long as I can have them. But yeah, I do need to go get a bridge. But most importantly, when you are trying not to sizzle your sizzlers, that particular tooth is really bad as far as sizzlers go. And also, slugworth sizzlers, which I think are made out of chocolate. Neither here nor there. And the final reason why I missed that tooth, I didn't even get to keep it. They took out one of my very back molars, and I got to keep it, and it's this really cool tooth that I have in a bag. And it's just like, oh, this is a whole tooth. Just came out all at once. It's got the stuff, and you can see the big hole in it where the cavity went. And I'm like, man, I should have held on to that.
Yeah.
I can rebuild my face.
Well, yeah, or just wait for the other 17 to fall out, and then,
that's hurtful.
Make a rattle. Make a rattle.
Hurtful.
That's what they used to do for babies' rattles, is put teeth in there. Yeah.
Yes, but was it the teeth from that baby?
I mean, it could have been. You never know. That's kind of creepy.
If you're making, yeah, but here's the thing: if you're making the teeth from somebody else's baby, it's weird.
Or
But
maybe,
if you're making a rattle for your baby out of that baby's teeth,
yeah,
that's perfect. Yeah.
yeah. There you go. All right. We're moving up the chart now on our top 5 things that we regret of throwing or giving away. My number three. I'm throwing this in here just because you're all thinking it. But the one thing that I regret throwing away is that one cable I thought that I would never need, and then it turns out I did. And that could be anything. There are times now where I'm going through for old hard drives, external hard drives, and I'm like, oh man, where is the plug for this, or where is the cable for this, so I can check and see what is on this hard drive, or this power plug, or whatever it is, and it's like I can't find it, and it's like I guess I threw it away, and then you go online and you're like, hey, if you want to buy this, it's $20, and it's like I can't afford $20 to rebuy a cable that I'm just going to use once. If I just would have kept that one drawer of cables instead of throwing them away, I'd be okay right about now. So that's my number 3. That one cable I thought I would never need. More along the lines of, do we really need a drawer full of these cables? We could really put something else in here, like silverware.
Or, children.
Or chopsticks. Yeah. So, Matthew, what do you have for your number 3?
When we moved into this house in 2019, I finally got rid of my box of coaxial cable and various connectors and splitters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good 10 years after coax stopped being a thing. My number 3 thing that I regret getting rid of has an asterisk on it. Because I do regret getting rid of it. I don't regret getting rid of it at the time for the reason that I did.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a young man, you could sing the Warthog song.
When he was a young warthog.
Thank you. When I was 10 or 11, I started playing the string bass, the standing bass. And I owned a 3/4 size bass.
Oh, like a mini bass kind of thing?
No, like a full size. It was like, the 3/4 size is what Dick Smothers played.
Oh, okay.
So the standing bass that looks like
you're talking about an upright bass.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you meant like a bass guitar, and it was 3/4 size of a regular like bass guitar that like Slash or somebody would play.
Yeah, the 3/4. There's basically the half size, which is for children, the 3/4 size, which is for fat people, and then there's the full size, which is for Kevin Nash and various giants of the field. But my bass was one that I got for about $350, or rather that my grandmother paid about $350 for, and I kept it for years and years and years. And finally, this is another thing that happened when I was in Topeka. We were in Topeka, and we were like, man, are we going to make rent this month?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and my wife, she has this mode, and thankfully she hasn't used it in 14, 15 years. She calls it Dragon Slayer mode. And when she goes into Dragon Slayer mode, she's like, I'm going to get us money.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just don't ask, but she took my bass and sold it for, I think, more than $350. I honestly don't remember. I was just taken aback by the whole thing, crushed. But we sold it, paid the rent, everything's good. I don't know if we had a kid at that point. I feel like we did, but also maybe we didn't. Who knows? But here's the important thing about it. I feel bad at this point. Part of me regrets selling that bass. Now, at the time, I hadn't played it in probably 6 years. I probably would not have played it very often after that. And it did go to, a good cause in that we kept our house. But there's just a part of me that's like, man, I could be the guy who still has his string bass. And I could be like, hey, I'm string bass guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could be that guy.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it. Here is a new double bass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this means. 4x4 by 1/10 size setup. I just did a search for 3/4 string bass on the eBay. $2,000 for that thing. Yeah, $2,000.
That's a lot.
You can get a case though for only $89.99. But yeah, so yeah, a little bit more expensive now for those things. But I bet if you go to
But-
your local used store, you could probably
Oh,
find
I'm
one. Like here in town, the what's it called, the pawn shop.
hmm
Uh, they have all sorts of musical instruments, and they're really well priced. I'm surprised. Like here, I'm looking at a Fender guitar on eBay right
hmm
now, and they want like $2,700 for it. I can go into the store here in town and get one for like $400.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So go check that out if you want to get back into your upright bass days.
Mm.
All right, we are moving up to our number twos. In 1978, my grandparents showed up for my birthday, and my grandmother handed me a bunch of little wind-up toys. And I was like,
Mm.
thanks, cheap grandma. That's what I thought at the time, because it's just like, man, I'm 8 years old. I should be getting some awesome gifts. And little did I know that I would fall in love with the Tomy or the Tommy wind-up robots from
Mhm.
Japan that were just starting to make their way into the United States in 1977, 1978. I had a set of 6, 3 that are red and black, red domes, black arms and legs. Oh, everybody had chrome bodies. And 3 of the blue domed, orange arms and legs robots. Because I could wind these things up and, have them go at each other, see who would knock each other over. But as with anything that was made in the 1970s, especially wind up stuff that were like probably 20 cents a piece or whatever that they were back in the day, the wind up gears start to break and the little plastic arms start to snap off after a while. And one by one, as these things would seize up or not be useful anymore or get crushed or whatever that happens to them, I would throw them away until now I have only one little wind up robot in my possession. And I almost lost this one because I didn't know that it was in a case of things that my mom was going to throw away. And I went through it and I said, oh, here's a little wind up robot that my grandmother gave me. It's probably the only thing I have left that she gave me. It doesn't work anymore. You can barely hear. I don't know if you can even hear it here. Yeah. I can't even get the wind up to work. The joints have seized, and one of the grippers on its arm, which are just plastic pieces, one of the grippers have broken off. So it's only got 3 fingers instead of 4. But I really wish I would have kept those around just for little display pieces, just for little display kind of cute little things from my childhood. Because save for like my Star Wars action figures, which they are around here somewhere. They may be in a storage shed. Or they may be in the nerd room in a box somewhere. I still have my original Star Wars figures, but things from my childhood that old, say for the Star Wars figures in my original Legos, I don't really have anything left from my like 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old childhood. All that stuff is gone. So I have my little wind-up toy, my Lego, and my Star Wars action figures. But getting rid of all the rest of those, I kind of regret, because I have a feeling today I could probably find somebody who would be like, oh yeah, we can easily repair this wind up function of it. And here's an easy way to replace the arm or whatever. And I would have functioning robots that could battle each other again. So my number 2 is the Tommy or the Tomy wind up robots from Japan from 1978. Yeah.
I had some of those. Those are cool.
Yeah, they're really cool. Mine is stamped 1977. So that is the year that I got mine. Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah. What do you have for your number 2, Matthew?
My number 2 is something that I, again, got rid of for what felt like a good reason, but I later regretted it and have, thankfully, since been able, in this rare case, to recapture it. And I say a few, 22 years ago, I got my first, what you would refer to as a management job. And so I felt that I needed to be all grown up and schlibbity-bibbity. I was in my 30s. What did I know? So I cut off my hair. When I was in college, I usually wore my hair down to about my shoulder blades. Steven used to make fun of me. Okay.
No, everybody used to make fun of you.
Shut up.
But not because
Steven
of your hair.
His hair like 3 inches tall spikes.
Yeah, man.
I'm just...
Yeah.
So you could kill somebody. You put somebody's eye.
I did kill a man one day in Reno.
Yeah, just to watch him die?
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with that dippity-doo. That stuff's expensive. But in any case, you get you get to a certain point in your life and you feel like I need to be XYZ. I need to seem or act or become whatever the thing is. And I get it and I don't regret it. But when around 2019, when the pandemic was going really strong, I had an issue with anybody getting into my personal space. And so at that point, I did not get my every 2-month haircut anymore. And to this day, I have not. And so my hair is back down to the middle of my back. Now, here's the thing. It's weird. It's long in the back, but for some reason in the front, it doesn't seem like it's quite as long as it used to be. It's very odd. There's just like shiny.
And your forehead keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's almost a 6 head now.
Yeah.
But I did grow my hair back. And I remember thinking more than one time since then, I remember thinking it sure is great to have my hair back. Because sometimes you feel like something is more appropriate, something is more you. It's not necessarily my identity as having my hair.
It's like being comfortable in your own skin kind of thing.
Yeah, sometimes you're just like, I'm going to wear my hair long. And if you have a problem with that, hey, look over there. And so, for my money, my number 2, you can't beat getting something back after you regretted losing it. Although in this case, it was something that grew on my head. So, I didn't really do anything. It just sort of came back.
I mean, when you cut your hair, as I found out, there's always the risk that it's not going to come back the way it was before, or as much as it was the way it was before. So, yeah, no,
that's a Seinfeld episode. The guy's like, he's bald. He's not bald. He shaves his head.
Yeah.
Well, if he stops shaving his head, he's still bald.
We have made it to the top of the charts for our top 5 things that we regret throwing or getting rid of, throwing away or getting rid of. And mine is going to sound so stupid, but in hindsight, I really regret throwing this away. And I threw them away in kind of a fit of frustration and anger. So back in 1995, I talk about Art Bell a lot. Back in 1995 is when I first discovered Art Bell's Coast to Coast AM, a paranormal radio show that ran overnights all across the country. I was in Atlanta at the time. And of course, I had to get up early in the morning to go and work, and I would work all day. So when Art Bell was on, I was sleeping. However, there was this cool thing called Real Audio. It was this audio format, this streaming audio format that was around back in the day. And they would stream those shows. And if you knew how to download the Real Audio collection, the Real Audio file, you could download it locally and play it locally. So beginning in 1995, I started downloading the Art Bell shows in the morning so that I could listen to them while I was at work. And I started saving them first on like zip drives for people that remember zip drives. And then starting to migrate them to CDs once, I never converted the Real Audio files to MP3. Maybe I did. I can't remember. I don't think I did. But eventually the Art Bell files would be on the Rec Art tab on your Usenet. And so I would download the MP3, and it was just like the raw recording from the radio, right? So that meant commercials, news stories, none of the, you're listening to a classic Art Bell show. No, it was the whole thing in order. Even the weird stuff at the beginning where Art was showing his libertarian bent and his hatred for the Clintons. It was all there. But it was the paranormal stories that I like. And so from 1995 until 2010, or whenever he first retired, whenever he left the air, George Norrie took over. And even when George Norrie took over, and then later Ian Punnett, who died a few years ago, and I didn't even realize was teaching up here at K-State in Manhattan.
Really?
Yeah, I was really surprised by that. I saw Ian Punnett died. I'm like, oh, and then it was like instructor at K-State University. I was like, what? But yeah, that Ian Punnett. I was downloading, saving, moving those files from CDs onto DVDs, and I had probably 40 DVDs, Blu-ray DVDs of data Blu-rays of every Art Bell episode from 1995 until 2013. Art Bell had several attempts at a comeback, and he would always do it for like 3 months or something, and then he would have like contract negotiations break down. He was in the Philippines at the time, and the last time he started, he was like, nope, for sure I'm doing it this time on my new website. Start paying me this monthly fee. It's kind of a premium service like we would expect today. He did that for 3 months, and then he's like, yeah, no, I can't deal with the people anymore. Didn't realize he was in super poor health at the time. But in 2013, 2014, he said, nope, I'm done. I'm out of here. And I got so fed up with his attitude of whether he was going to come back and do the stuff or he wasn't going to do his show that I just was like, I am fed up with you, Art Bell. You have angered me for the last time. And I just took all of those CDs and DVDs and just threw them in the trash. And now, 10 years later, I'm sitting here going, man, I really miss listening to classic Art Bell. And while I can go and find, like on the Internet Archive, I can go and find people who have collected Art Bell shows, but those are not the shows that I had. They are missing huge gaps. They're missing like repeat shows. They're missing shows that were, interrupted for whatever reason. They don't have a complete run of the Art Bell show. And a lot of the ones that they do have been from repeats. This is a repeat of a broadcast that they, from, 2000 that they rebroadcast in 2004, and all of Art Bell's news and all the other things that made the show interesting, the callers, are gone. And I sit there probably once a month and I'm just like, man, I wish I'd never would have thrown away that complete collection that I had. It was probably the most complete collection that if I did post it online and violate all sorts of copyright, people would hail me as a hero because of how complete that collection was. And I'm not looking to be a hero. I just miss Art Bell. And I miss his brand of conversation, not necessarily, buying into his conspiracy theories. Cause like I said, he had no love for the Clintons, definitely had no love for Barack Obama, was definitely a Second Amendment guy, which, I'm fine with that. But he was definitely somebody who was very libertarian in his views. And he also, platformed Alex Jones. If it wasn't for Coast to Coast AM, we would not have Alex Jones being the pain in our butts that he is today. But Art Bell was a pioneer. He really knew how to have a conversation. He had to hold conversations with people for, 3-4 hours at a time. And I just really appreciate that. I think the only person that's come close to being able to have a natural conversation with people the way Art did is Mark Maron. And now Mark Maron's done with his show, and I'm sad once again. So my number one thing that I regret throwing away is my complete Art Bell collection from 1995 to 2014. So there you go. Matthew, what do you have for your number one?
And this is a depressing episode.
I know, right? I started with my 30s and 40s and ended with Art Bell.
Yeah. I started with my teeth, and now I end with something important. My vintage 1979 Millennium Falcon.
Oh,
and that's the thing, I did not have a lot of the figures, which it seems weird, but I actually had some of the bigger toys. I had a Millennium Falcon. I had the AT-AT.
Oh, man.
But yeah, my Millennium Falcon was actually an old one because I got it the year that Empire came out. And I know it was an old one because it still had the Star Wars trade dress on the front. And when they re-released it for Jedi. No, they re-released it for Empire with the Empire trade dress. So mine was like an old one that was sitting in the back of the TG&Y or something. By the way, if you don't know what a TG&Y is...
you probably also don't know what an Alco is that I referenced earlier.
Alco and TG&Y were the same people for a minute. Yep. Anyway, we're old. How about you?
I prefer to think of us as vintage.
Exactly.
Collector's items.
Somebody had not gotten rid of us when we were most valuable.
Exactly.
But yeah, I miss that simply because
we were last valuable, Matthew, when we were considered tax deductions.
What about you? I am invaluable. I'm not just valuable. I'm in it. But also, more importantly, it's one of those bits of my youth that's never going to come back. I actually still have my Sky Striker, my GI Joe F-14, up in my office.
Oh, the whole airplane.
Yeah, the whole plane. Now, bits and pieces of it are not as connected, but I have them all.
Yeah, 3D print you some replacements.
Comes apart. Well, we got like 12 3D printers in the basement, but the problem is when you say, hey, can you 3D print this? She'll say, yeah. And then you'll hear from her 19 months later, and she'll be like, oh, I forgot. So that's a whole thing. Oh, she's giving me the finger. Anyway, but yes, my 79 Millennium Falcon is an important piece of my youth. At a certain point, and this is true, it was actually inhabited by the original 13 G.I. Joes.
There you go.
They lived and flew in that ship.
Very cool.
Because your creativity does not care about IPs.
Who do you think? Who do you think Darth Vader and Princess Leia were fighting with? They were fighting against my little robots.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how imagination works when you don't have very many toys growing up. Occasionally, He-Man and She-Ra would show up. So there you go. Dear listeners,
did you give the robots names? Do they have like RU1, 2?
No, It was just blue 1, blue 2, red 1, red 2. Dear listeners, what are the things that you regret throwing away or giving away? It doesn't have to be from your childhood. It could be from something last week. Oh man, I regret throwing away that winning lottery ticket. That could be it. We want to hear from you over on the Major Spoilers Discord server. Join the Discord server absolutely free. Link in the show notes. Hop into top 5 and let us know what you regret throwing away. Also, don't forget, if you found value in the show, you enjoyed the show, you want to see this show continue, or maybe I should say, hear this show continue, then by all means, please join us on our Patreon page, patreon.com/major spoilers. $5 a month is all we're asking. I know right now times are tight, but $5 a month means the continuation of the show, or maybe you regretting not becoming a patron and this show goes away. Top 5 is a production of Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC, and is produced by me, Steven Schleicher. If you have any suggestions or ideas for future Top 5 topics, make sure you head over to our Discord server. Share your thoughts there.
This podcast is copyright 2026 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.